Greetings from down under. Today I'm in Sydney and this city is absolutely spectacular. It definitely has the wow factor and it is spectacularly draped around this beautiful Sydney Harbor, which is the world's largest natural harbor, and it also has over 100 beaches around the city. I'm not sure what I really expected when I first came here because this is my first trip. But what I found out is that Sydney's very British. Lots of British names on the streets and restaurants, hotels. You even drive on the left side of the road and you need to walk on the left side of all the sidewalks and pathways, which really I have to think about a lot. But the city's very walkable, also super safe. And also it's very hilly. So we have definitely gotten our exercise. A lot of the area just seems like it goes just vertical. And Sydney is also very lush. Who knew? I mean, it's very green, lots of tropical plants, even giant palm trees and just these big, massive, beautiful trees everywhere. It's beautiful. And Sydney has a very unique history, as many of you know. So just as a reminder, Captain Cook from Britain, he discovered this area back in 1770. And he found a gem. He knew he did when he saw this massive natural harbor. So fast forward to 18 years, well, the local people here, the natives, known as the Aboriginal people, they started seeing ships sailing in. And those ships were from England, and there was about 1,000 people on those 11 ships, the initial 11 ships that came here. About 200 were just settlers and some military, but the other 800, oh goodness, they were convicts. Yes, being sent from England all the way here to Australia. Well, that's just the beginning of the history here, but we learned about it and so much more at the Hyde Park Barracks. And this is the building that actually housed all those convicts for 30 years. Within those 30 years, they had 50,000 men and boys live at the Hyde Park Barracks. Then later on, it became a women's asylum and then a court of law, and now it's the Hyde Park Barracks Museum. And it is a fascinating place to go. So that's just one little slice of history here in Sydney. You can see it all around because so many of the buildings still exist. The architecture is just amazing. And Sydney has really done a great job of blending the old and the new. So you have these new beautiful skyscrapers, and then right next door is this building that's like 200 years old that's still intact and still very well maintained. So it's just a beautiful sight to see as you're walking around this city. But the two most famous architectural structures that are very beloved are, of course, the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Well, the Sydney Opera House, that is a World Heritage Site and probably one of the most recognizable buildings in all the world. And those curvaceous white cells that you can see from every angle here in the city and from the water, they're enormous. I don't care what angle you see. This place is huge, and come to find out, it's not just one like auditorium or theater. There are multiple ones, different ones depending on what is taking place. Concerts or symphonies or dance, ballet, drama, theater, and of course opera. And we had the opportunity to go there and it was just fantastic. And they also have lots of restaurants and bars at the Opera House, which of course is just right behind me, and also all over Sydney. They have great restaurants, really good food here, and even great wine. While here, I got to try wine from several different regions. One is right here by Sydney called Hunter's Valley. And then I tried some wine from Victoria and even Tasmania. Who would ever have thought I would be drinking wine from Tasmania? So that was fun. But the other place that just everyone loves and enjoys so much is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Well, this bridge just celebrated 90 years. So it just had its 90th birthday. And it is one of the world's largest, longest, and heaviest steel structures in the entire world. It is enormous, and they really had a vision when they built this bridge, which connects the south part of Sydney to the north part of Sydney. And we got to have an experience of a lifetime yesterday. We climbed to the very top up there where you see the clouds going over. You can see a light pole kind of sticking out. Well, that's the summit. And we went with a company called Bridge Climb. And they're excellent. They're very professional. And I'm telling you, they helped my nerves a lot because I was so nervous, as you can imagine. But they really trained us. We went through training. They had, we have great guides. They gave us really good equipment. And the best thing of all, which I loved, we were tethered, so there was no way we were going to fall off. We also climbed over 1,000 stairs to get to the top, and it was worth every step, let me tell you. And when we got up there, we had this amazing 360-degree panoramic view. It was just an experience of a lifetime, and I highly, highly recommend going on Bridge Climb to go to the summit of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So I feel like I've just scraped the surface here. I mean, the tip of the iceberg of this city. I'm already planning my next trip here. But let me tell you a few other things that we did. We did actually this morning, got up really early and headed over to the Sydney Fish Market, which is the second largest fish market in all of the world. And we got to do a behind the scenes tour with our tour guide, Alex, who was amazing and made it so much fun and so interesting. It was just a wealth of knowledge. We got to go to the auction where all the suppliers buy and bid on the fish from all over the world. I don't know how many pounds. It's just amazing the amount of fish that comes through that market. And then afterwards, we got to go to the retail area and sample a lot of things. It was so much fun. Another thing we did, well, we enjoyed the ferries. Here in Sydney, they have a lot of ferries. It's just a busy, busy harbor all the time with the ferries kind of gliding back and forth. There are so many nooks and crannies of this harbor, and you can get on a ferry and go pretty much anywhere you want to in this area. Another place we went was the Sydney National, well actually it's called the Australian National Maritime Museum. It was one of the best we've seen in the world, and we always go to the maritime museums. And a couple of the things that they had like a replica of the Endeavour, the HMS Endeavour that Captain Cook actually discovered this area on. They also have a enormous, what's it called? Not a battleship. What's it called, Ron? Destroyer. Okay, he had to help me out there. Yes, a huge destroyer, and then also a submarine, and they just have all kinds of things in the water. And then of course they have a building inside that you can also learn all about. We loved also going to the Blue Mountains. That's just west of here. And we took a train, and it took us about 2 hours, and it was so worth it. But it's multiple national parks, also a World Heritage Site, and also an area where a lot of the Aboriginal people lived and still live today. It's beautiful, just spectacular to see. And then another thing was the Royal Botanical Gardens, and that's actually right over here, right behind the Opera House. And it is just acres and acres of green space right here in the city. And it just goes on and on of all the wonderful things that you can do. But one of the favorite things that the local people like here is Bandai Beach. And fortunately, that's just 30 minutes away from here. and it's on the Pacific Ocean. And this is one of Australia's most popular and famous beaches. One is because of all the surfing competitions that take place there, but it's a cool beachside village. And what we didn't know about, and we're very excited to do, was something that's called the Coastal Trail. And this trail actually starts at Bandai, and it goes all around to Coogee Beach, and you stop at multiple beaches along the way. It's 3.5 miles long, and it's a paved trail, thank goodness, but there's still a lot of steps involved, a lot of hills up and down. But the best thing about it is the scenery. It's just spectacular. It's dramatic views of cliffs and just jagged coastline. And we happened to be there on a beautiful sunny day, so we got to enjoy this spectacular sunset as we were walking. Even though we were getting a little tired, it was worth every step, and I would highly recommend that coastal trail between Bandai Beach and Coogee. As you can see, Sydney just has so much. It's really quaint, but it's also very sophisticated. It has just fantastic history and so much to do and see. And then the people, I cannot forget to talk about the people. Oh my goodness, they are so nice, so professional, so hospitable, and very, very welcoming. Just some of the nicest people in the world. And I think that's what makes Sydney one of the best and most beautiful cities on this entire planet. Just another travel tidbit from Travel with Terri.